Hello everyone and welcome back to a critical retrospective. You're probably wondering, hey, you sound a little different today. Did you get a new mic?
Yeah, do you like it?
I decided this would probably increase the production value of my videos because I want you guys to have good content to consume. You deserve the best after all. But some of you are probably sitting there thinking, it's not that noticeable, why are you hyping it up so much? It doesn't really deserve all of the focus you're putting on it in this video. To that end, I feel like my microphone could serve as a metaphor for today's video topic, Zoe. Also known as the single most unnecessary addition to the cast. It's very strange how disproportionately large the amount of focus Zoe gets is. And considering how late into the show she showed up, why the heck is she here? Her very existence raises some very peculiar in-universe questions. I mean, Audrey has some explaining to do, that's all I'm gonna say. However, I don't think Zoe as a concept is completely unsalvageable. They do have some somewhat interesting things to add to Zoe's character, but the thing is they don't really build on any of them. Just a heads up, this video is going to be a lot of speculation because Zoe's a big hunk of nothing, and so I'm gonna have to read between the lines a little bit to get anything out of her. However, on the bright side, this video will be a little bit shorter than my regular one, so I should be able to get it out to you in a good time. So let's get right into things. Starting with... Season 4 was the first time that... What's your name again?
Zoe.
Right, Season 4 was the first time that Zoe appeared in the show. She's introduced as a mysterious stranger who's riding in somebody's taxi on their way to Marinette's bakery. They don't give away that Zoe and Chloe are sisters right away. Instead, they decide to build up that intrigue for a grand total of 2 minutes. I mean, seriously, what was the point of keeping it a secret? If I remember correctly, approximately a month before Soul Crusher and Queen Banana aired, the miraculous Brazilian voice actors accidentally confirmed that Zoe is Chloe's half-sister. And no, I'm not saying that an episode written years in advance probably should have seen a minor leak like this coming, but what I am saying is that just by judging Zoe's appearance from her first ever scene, it's exceedingly obvious that she's going to be related to Chloe. I mean, Zoe is going to succeed Chloe as the Be Miraculous holder, we all know that. And the writers are nothing if not predictable, so of course they were going to make the two sisters. But I'm kind of getting off topic there, we'll focus on that when we come to that. So let's get back to Soul Crusher, shall we? Zoe's most interesting character trait is that she pretends to be as arrogant and conceited as her family. And I'm guessing she was doing this back in New York as well, judging by what she tells Andre. And this is very interesting if only they fleshed it out a little bit more. It feels like this backstory only really exists to ignite some short-term sympathy in the audience. Remember who this character is, Chloe's replacement, and so the writers are trying everything they possibly can to get you to prefer her over Chloe. And so they create this tragic backstory for Zoe that on the surface could be easily compared to Chloe's. But then you look a little closer and then things don't exactly add up. First of all, Chloe's backstory gets a lot more time to be fleshed out than Zoe's ever did. All we get is that Zoe wasn't being her true self back in New York, or at any other point in time. She says that she plays different personas depending on who she's around, which, come on, just show us that already. It's very interesting stuff. A character who modifies their behavior based on who they're around is something that Miraculous hasn't really tackled yet. No, Lila does not count. Lila cheats and manipulates people in order to get what she wants from them. Zoe only pretends to be somebody who she isn't because she thinks her family will accept her that way. Imagine if they carried this trait over for a few more episodes at the very least. Have her question who she really is and consider whether or not she's actually an authentic human being, given the fact that she keeps changing her behavior depending on who she's around. This kind of existential crisis could last for a multitude of episodes. Maybe Shadowmoth could keep targeting her due to the surge of negative emotions arising from her conflicting feelings about her situation. Then, towards the end of season 4, Zoe could finally realize who she really is, and stop seeking the attention that Audrey isn't giving her. This could segue really nicely into a Chloe redemption arc. Zoe could teach Chloe just how much happier life is now that she's stopped seeking Audrey's approval. Then Chloe would have a newfound understanding over what Zoe's been through and related to her own experiences. And I know this might be a bit of a big call and a hot take and an unpopular opinion, but I get the feeling that Zoe would probably be a very necessary character for Chloe's redemption. Think about it, by her very nature, Chloe's a selfish person. She's only ever thinking about herself and her own circumstances, never really considering the weight her actions have on other people. Anyone trying to convince Chloe of otherwise would probably be met with the response of, you don't know me, you don't know what I've been through. But Zoe would really cut through all of that, because she has been in the exact same situation that Chloe is currently living through. And so she can offer moral support. She can tell Chloe that it's not worth chasing an impossible dream. Even if she does succeed, Audrey's love is fickle. It will never be enough for her. And so if Zoe can learn that lesson, then so can Chloe. This could be some kind of epiphany for her, and then she could work to become a better person in the eyes of her peers, with Zoe acting as a moral compass. Then eventually, maybe maybe Chloe could get the Be Miraculous back. Or if the writers wanted to have their cake and eat it too, Zoe and Chloe could share the Be Miraculous, rewarding Zoe for her efforts and teaching Chloe the importance of selflessness. This creates a fresh dynamic that wasn't really present in the Miraculous superhero team before Zoe's arrival. This would give Zoe an actual reason to be in the cast, and a purpose beyond just being Chloe's successor, because she isn't Chloe's successor anymore, she's her partner. A partner who is going to help Chloe reach a better life for herself. But instead, the writers just added her unnecessarily given the fact that Chloe's redemption was shafted. This was just my hypothetical scenario trying to make the best of a bad situation. And while I personally feel that Zoe is a very important character for Chloe's strong redemption arc, I'm not going to say that it would have failed without her, because season 2 proved that it absolutely can. And that's the hallmark of a failed character in my eyes. If you can completely shaft a character from your narrative and little to nothing would change, then they're an unnecessary addition, they're a spare tire. A waste of space and a waste of time. So why do the writers give her so much focus? Well, let's get to that, shall we? Enter Queen Banana, my favourite episode of season 5 that I am going to relentlessly trash on. This episode is the final nail in the coffin for any redemptive moments Chloe may have had, while also force feeding us this new character who we're supposed to love while giving us no incentive to do just that. And they really try.
That Asteria's much nicer.
It seems very unnecessary and pointless and futile to try and force us to like a new character by just outright telling us why we should. They're breaking the first rule of storytelling there. Show don't tell. Show us why Zoe is worth our time and attention. Show us why we should care about her. Because right now, there's nothing for us to latch onto. I mean, I spent like 2 minutes talking about a hypothetical scenario for Zoe's character because there's nothing for me to talk about in terms of her actual character. And so I'm grasping for straws. Imaginary straws. They don't even exist. I'm making them up. On the bright side, Queen Banana does follow through Zoe's interests in becoming an actress, at the very least. It's a way for us to explore her character in at least some way, no matter how small it may be. I will take what I can get. So yeah, that's pretty much all Queen Banana and Soul Crusher have to offer us in terms of Zoe's character. Is there anything else in season 4? Well, not really. I mean, in Gabriel Agreste, she makes fun of Adrian's bodyguard. That's something, I guess. In Mega Leech, she uses venom on the titular villain. In Crocodile, she dances poorly. In Optigami, Chloe uses her as a human shield. In Penalty, she becomes Vesperia again. Same in Strike Back. Is that it? Are you serious? Does Zoe not have a single major appearance to call her own for the rest of the season?
Are you sure you don't have anything else?
No.
It's honestly hilarious to me that they spend so much time hyping up this new character only to do very little with her. She was in all the trailers, all the marketing, and yet, really, what was the point? She didn't do anything of note. Nothing of substance. Why was she even there? Only to fill the queen bee-shaped hole in the cast that was left behind after Miracle Queen, I suppose. All of this could have been avoided if they just committed to Chloe's redemption arc. But no, they decided to make Chloe the one-dimensional character she was in season 1, and then replace her with Margaret here.
Zoe.
Right, Cassandra, got it.
Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is, Zoe was given one of the more important Miraculouses in the Miracle Box, and she didn't deserve it. It's wasted on her. Smartypants pointed this out in his Zoe video, but I feel like it's worth mentioning here. The Ladybug and Cat Miraculouses were given to our two main characters. The Fox and Turtle were given to the best friends of our two main characters. The Butterfly and Peacock Miraculouses belonged to our two main villains. And the Bee Miraculous was given to the main anti-hero of the story. Each of these Miraculouses were given to characters who had a significant part to play in the story, more or less. But Zoe, she's a D-list character at best. She'll never live up to the standards Chloe left behind unless the writers actually do something interesting with her. But I don't think they're going to take the chance because she did what she set out to do. They created her as a replacement for the Bee Miraculous, and now she is. And so there's nothing left for her to really do, nothing to explore. That's why she spends most of season 4 spinning her wheels in the background, just like somebody else I know. Outside of Soul Crusher and Queen Banana, what is there for her to do? She's already explored her dynamic with Chloe and how she's negatively affected her, and so now what? What is there left to explore? I'll tell you what, nothing. She's just a desert now, a desert of bleak nothingness. And season 5 could be the oasis in which we finally quench our thirst. Season 4 was her debut season, and I can't imagine many characters who debuted in a season and then ended up getting lots of character development in that same season. So I'm very patient with this show. I'm sure one day Zoe can become more than just some stupid copy of Chloe that the writers just made up out of nowhere. But the question is, are they actually going to commit to this? Well, let's find out together as we go into season 5 with rigorous apprehension. Just when I thought things couldn't get worse. There's not much more I can say about Season 5 Zoe that I haven't already said about Season 4 Zoe, but we might as well try. For the first half of Season 5, Zoe doesn't do very much. I genuinely don't remember a single thing she said or even did from the first 9 episodes of the season, if she even did anything. It is until the first half of the Kwame's Choice 2-part special Transmission when she finally gets something of note. This is the episode where Marinette and Adrian give up their Miraculouses and Plag and Tiki choose new holders. And for some really strange reason, Plag decides that Zoe is worthy of being the new Black Cat Miraculous holder. And the only question I have to ask is, why? The Cat Miraculous is the second most important Miraculous in the box, so why are you giving it to a B-lister, Plag? This is the exact same problem I had with giving her the B Miraculous. So now let's just go through everybody who has a major Miraculous in the box and the roles they represent in the series. Main characters, main side characters, main villains, and...
a woman who appears identical to Princess Zelda in all ways but one. Her eyes are lifeless and dead.
I think you get the idea. Zoe doesn't deserve the Cat Miraculous, and it's really weird that they're forcing her to have it. She's such a minor, irrelevant character, and was only introduced last season. We need more time to get accustomed to this change. They're forcing us to see her as a main character. She hasn't earned this status. Give her more screen time, give her more development, and maybe I will stop complaining about this. Because when she was first introduced in Soul Crusher, I never ever could have predicted that she'd get the second most important Miraculous in the box. And the thing is, if she had anything else interesting about her, even remotely intriguing, then I wouldn't be saying these things. And the thing is, I've got the idea that the writers made her the Black Cat Miraculous holder in Transmission and Deflagration to force us to like her more, to make her feel like she's a more important character than she really is. Sorry guys, but it's not gonna work. I'm afraid you're gonna have to do a little bit more work than just giving her a new shiny costume and telling us to go watch it. You know what, maybe I'm being a little bit too harsh. How about we see what being Kitty Noir actually does for Zoe's character? I'll admit it is actually something, but it isn't that interesting. First of all, as Kitty Noir, she's actually pretty interesting to watch as a hero, to see her come up with defeating the villain. Furthermore, she and Scarabella have some pretty good chemistry. At least more chemistry than Scarabella had with Cat Noir and Haxon. But that's pretty much it. Zoe doesn't have anything else to offer in Transmission, and so I think I should just move on. Let's see what she does in Deflagration. This is the episode where Gabriel finds out that the new holders are Zoé Lee and Alia Césaire, while also dancing for some reason.
I'm gonna do a little dance.
Anyway, the point I'm trying to make is that Zoe doesn't have very much in this episode either, but it's slightly better than it was in Transmission. For example, we learn that Zoe feels quite inadequate when compared to Chloe and struggles to stand up to her bullying. She seems relatively okay with standing up for other people, but she doesn't seem alright with standing up for herself, it seems. And that's an interesting character trait, if only they were going to take it further than this one episode. And that's my core problem with Zoe. Anything interesting about her is forgotten by the next episode she appears in, and she resets to factory settings. In Soul Crusher, she's really upset and anxious about her past and tries to fit in with her family. Then all of a sudden in Queen Banana, that's all thrown out of the window, and now she's just a little bit anxious about becoming the B Miraculous holder for 2 seconds before she remarkably swoops in and saves the day. But then in the very next episode, Gabriel aggressed, she's immediately back to acting mean in front of her butler, which I thought we were over that, but fine, whatever. And the writers just couldn't resist showing us how perfect she is by having her work up the courage to be mean to him. And then after she berates him, she says, "Sorry, it was for a good cause." Do you get it? Obviously you do. Zoe is just so perfect that she can't bring herself to be mean to anybody without exclaiming to the stars that she's doing it for a good reason. Show, don't tell, writers. Please, I'm begging you. Honestly, the whole point of Zoe's character is that she's nice to everybody around her, and that means her personality is the same as a room temperature taco. I have about 512 reasons that I could list as to why Zoe is a terrible character offhand, so let's go through them all, shall we? Number 1.
You're stalling. I am stalling! I am stalling!
I'm really strapped for things to say, you guys have mercy on me. You know what, no, we're gonna go through things with a positive mindset. There's definitely something to talk about here. Something. Anything. Well, I don't know. Adoration, I guess? This episode has a lot of things that Zoe is supposed to be developing into without foreshadowing any of them at all. For example, she stands up to Chloe for the first time, and Marinette is apparently the one who helped her do that.
It's all thanks to you, Marinette. You are the one who helped me change.
And I just have to ask, how exactly? We haven't really seen Marinette and Zoe's friendship develop, and we definitely haven't seen Zoe develop in terms of her relationship with Chloe and her eagerness to stand up to her since Deflagration. We should have had more episodes where Zoe works up the courage to finally tell Chloe how it really is. But the thing is, we don't really get that foreshadowing, and so everything from this episode feels incredibly forced. Come to think of it, a bunch of random things this episode came out of nowhere. Andre's real name, Sabrina not liking stealing, and that stupid whistle that she's apparently loved this whole time, Zoe's crush on Marinette. It all came out of nowhere, and so I don't really feel the need to talk about it anymore. Zoe's just a blank face of nothing. She's just a cake with too much sugar in it. The only bright spot is her akumatized form, Soul Crusher. It's a very interesting and unique design, and it's the only thing that Zoe has that Chloe doesn't. That is until Deflagration in season 5. Chloe even took her own sister's akumatized identity. Similar names, similar powers, and similar design. This is such a lazy attempt of copying from a previous Akuma, and it says a lot about Chloe's character and how lazy the writings become surrounding her. Not only that, but it also just goes to show that Soul Crusher wasn't exactly that groundbreaking and inventive as much as I thought it was. Because it proves that everything about Zoe could just be copy-pasted onto Chloe. Except her goodness, apparently, because the redemption arc for Chloe is just off the table. I just can't stop thinking about what the writers squandered. If they just committed to a Chloe redemption arc, the show would be substantially better for it. Literally almost everybody I've seen back in those days absolutely loved the direction they were taking Chloe's character in late 2018. But Zoe's just a hollow imitation of this. She'll never live up to using the Be Miraculous because she isn't anything. I feel like we're grasping for straws here to try and talk about anything she does in season 4 or even season 5. Every episode that she appears in post-Adoration is something incredibly minor that isn't worth her screen time at all. Marinette could be talking to a cardboard box instead of her, and there would be no harm done to the overall story. Without Chloe's redemption arc, we have two completely pointless characters, Lila and Zoe. Chloe's become a caricature of her former self, and now she's too similar to Lila in terms of her goals and ambitions and her personality. But unlike Lila, Zoe doesn't really have any goals or ambitions. She's a static character who treads water for every scene that she appears in. The fact of the matter is, her only important appearances in season 5 are Transmission, Deflagration, and Adoration. However, nothing that we learn about her in these episodes actually gives us any deeper insight to her character that could possibly flesh her out in any kind of way. Deflagration is a great episode, but don't get me wrong, Zoe is not why it's so great. And it's all because of why Zoe was created, to fill in the role of the Be Miraculous holder and to make Chloe even worse by providing a contrast. And what I'm talking about doesn't really fit in the season 5 segment anymore, does it? So we should probably move that to the conclusion. Overall, Zoe is just an unnecessary addition to the cast of characters in Miraculous Ladybug. She kind of paradoxically has way too much focus and yet not enough at the same time. Don't get me wrong, there are some interesting things to her character, such as her willingness to be like her family in order to be accepted by them. However, this only lasts a single episode and there isn't that much on her since Soul Crusher. She has no range in her personality. She's either nice or sad or something. There's nothing for me to dissect because there's nothing there. She only exists to replace Chloe as the Be Miraculous holder and as a mouthpiece for Thomas Astruc's arguments about how Chloe is irredeemable. They have such similar circumstances and upbringings, and yet instead of using that as a symbol for why Chloe can change, he uses it as a symbol for why she can't. Zoe and Chloe's relationship could have had so much more potential than this. Imagine if they ended up bonding over how Audrey was treating them and tried to help each other out of their dark pasts. But instead, Zoe is just passively waiting to the side as Chloe completely digs herself a deeper and deeper hole. She's a narrative dead weight with no character arc and only exists to completely destroy somebody else. A character who only exists to demonize another character is just a plot device. And so you can't really empathize with a plot device, leading to nobody really caring about Zoe at all. And that's one of the worst things you can be if you're a character in a TV show. Forgettable. I don't really like Chloe in season 4 or 5 or season 3 for that matter, and I really hate Lila, but at least those two make me feel things. I'd rather hate a character's guts rather than feel apathetic towards their existence like I do with Zoe. I mean, she showed up really late into the show's timeline and yet we're supposed to act like she's a big, important, relevant character, and yet they don't really do anything to make us believe that ourselves. She's a symbol of Thomas Astruc's spite and his unwillingness to let Chloe be a character that people would actually want to see on screen. The consequences of Miracle Queen can be felt for years to come, clearly. Yeah, this kind of derailed at the end, didn't it? Now it's just become a What Ruined Chloe Bourgeois Part 2. In my defense, it's hard to talk about Zoe without also mentioning Chloe, but I bet me and the Miraculous fandom all know who we'd much rather be talking about. Thanks a lot, Miracle Queen. You robbed us of a nuanced character and replaced her with a boring one. 4 years later, we still hate you, but we'll never forget what once was. Queen Bee has been immortalized in our hearts and in YouTube clips, and that's what really matters. Thank you all so much for watching this video. It's a lot shorter than my usual content, as I'm sure you can understand, talking about Zoe is a very difficult task. Okay, favourite comment time. My favourite comment from the last video was from Dotted Grey, going really in depth on Felix's character. Him calling Felix by the end of season 5 another entry in Ladybug's Pokédex got a good chuckle out of me. Thanks for commenting, Dotted Grey. Okay, now for some special mentions from some channels who reached out to me. MLM Duo and Lily Loves Roblox told me that they were inspired to make videos because of me. That is an overwhelmingly flattering thing to hear. And so I've decided to do what Cyrus did for me way back when. Shout them out. I'm not exactly familiar with MLM Duo's content, but I'm sure they make some great stuff and you should definitely check them out if you have the time. And Lily Loves Roblox hasn't made anything yet, but once she does, you should definitely go and watch them. MLM, Lily, if either of you are watching this video, I just want to say I'm sure you're making great content and I hope I managed to get some traction your way. This has been a critical retrospective and I'll see you in the next video essay.